however you want to express yourself, gay or lesbian or transgender or genderqueer. You are beautiful.
Heaven help me keep falling. It's not easy finding your place.
This could be our opportunity to take control of our lives.
But if it's not love, it'll just break, it'll surround you.
You can't stop fighting for the ones you love.
You can be strong, standing in place, knowing you'll
Please
break
understand,
through.
I'm not fighting about bathrooms. I'm fighting about her life.
Well, I ask you, can you see me now?
But if it's love, it will find you, give you more to hold on to. It will carry the weight.
I like the idea that the world is changing and I get to be whoever I want.
When it comes to war, I fight. When it comes to love, I don't choose sides.
Basic equality, that's all it is.
There's no way to get an accurate count of LGBT suicides in the Mormon community, but we do know that youth suicide rates in Utah, where a majority of the populace is Mormon, have skyrocketed over the past decade.
I grew up gay and Mormon and in Utah. In my morning prayers, I would ask that God would do something drastic like cause me to die in a car accident or for me to get cancer or something awful like that.
When the God that you believe in and the family that raised you and loves you, when they reject you, you don't have a lot left to live for.
You see the church between kind of a rock and a hard place when it comes to gay issues.
We've taken this topic on a number of occasions. It's not going away. Where do we stand on this?
We regard same-sex marriage as a significant, serious kind of sin.
Simply being attracted to someone of the same gender is not a sin. It is when we act on the inclination or the attraction.
The church finally said there's nothing wrong with being gay.
Yay!
As long as you don't do gay stuff. So, if you're a gay Mormon and you're in a relationship with a man, you're fine. As long as you don't hug him or kiss him or hold hands with him or have sex with him or marry him or live with him or be in a relationship with him.
And today, I'm talking with Las Vegas resident Dan Reynolds, who is the lead singer of Imagine Dragons. Reynolds is on a mission quite apart from his musical career. He's putting together a documentary examining policies in the Mormon Church regarding the LGBTQ community. Dan Reynolds, it's great to have you back.
There are far too many Mormons in Utah that are taking their lives. And so this is an issue that needs to be discussed now. The families need to be having this discussion in their homes now.
I'm the master of my seal. Yeah, the master of my seal.
You grew up Mormon. You don't have to be a member of the church. A lot of people will say, you know what, if you don't agree, just get out.
I don't feel a need to denounce Mormonism. I do feel a need as a Mormon to speak out against things that I think are hurting people.
Dan, do you feel like in some ways you yourself might be leading people astray?
people have reached out and said, hey, you know, you've lost your way, and God believes that being gay is a sin, and you're dragging down, you are spreading a message of against God's will.
Like a lot of rich people, you could just ignore all this, go on with the rest of your life. Why are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself out there?
The community I was raised with is Mormonism. And I was always taught that if you want to make a difference in the world, you start with your community.
That's a question I had as well, Dan. I mean, do you actually think you're going to change the church?
Wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes sir, not a follower. Fit the box, fit the mold, have a seat in the foyer. Take a number. I was lightning before the thunder.
This song, I think, is probably going to be our next single. It's been a little bit of the bane of my existence for the last couple months because I just haven't felt like it was totally right yet. I woke up at like 3 a.m. this morning with a counter melody idea in my head for this end part. This song it's called Thunder, but it's like, this time in my life was lightning before the thunder. It was like, when I was young, feeling a little misplaced, feeling never quite like I settled in a pocket.
Go and get Dan. Go.
I am the seventh son, 9 kids.
Hey, Danny.
I was raised Mormon, Latter-day Saint, as Mormons say, LDS. It was really all I knew growing up, because when you grow up, you think everybody's Mormon, or at least most of the world's Mormon. So in the Mormon church, you're supposed to go on a mission when you turn 19 years old. A mission is 2 years away from your family. You knock doors all day.
We're missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay, we have our own religion, thank you.
Okay, that's okay.
When you start as a missionary, you get into one, out of every 100 doors you knock. What carries you on is your complete, resolute belief in what you're doing. You are resilient about it, and so you knock those 100 doors.
If there's anything I can leave with y'all tonight, it would just be that my testimony of this gospel is that I know it's real, and it does bring true happiness. When I came home from my mission, and I allowed my brain to really think about life and what I wanted out of it and who I wanted to be, everybody, in the Mormon community knew my family was like the smart Reynolds, the doctors, the lawyers, the good kids. You want your daughter to date a Reynolds boy, they're good kids. My brothers all went to BYU, they all married, great Mormon girls, had great Mormon families, and I didn't want to be the one to break that cycle. And so it just, it seemed like the easy route, like you follow the line.
Okay, can you give that to Daddy?
Daddy!
Yep.
Give her Jeff.
Okay.
Dad, both of the babies look like little aliens. When their eyes are open, they look like little aliens.
Yeah, they do look like little aliens.
That's kind of what they are.
I'm a little alien.
Can I kiss her, Dad?
It's not on you.
I know, but we just cleaned.
Well, it's okay. Just leave it for a sec. I'll deal with it.
Let me just look and see.
Yeah, honey, just don't.
Honey, it's massive.
I know. I'll deal with it.
My family, so I have a 4-year-old daughter, Arrow. She was born right when our first album came out.
Let's just say I am the boss.
And now I have 2 more little girls, twins, fraternal. She is so cute, honey. It's killing me. My wife, who is the greatest human being ever.
Stop picking on her.
Well, I'm not. I'm just trying to get
You're like, she has a furry head and boogers in her eyes.
Well, no, I just want to get the boogers out of her eyes because that would drive me crazy, too.
When I met him, he was just a part of this kind of, I don't want to say closed community, but it was like there wasn't really a lot of outside, it's like a very Mormon community, you know? And I was definitely an alien to that. We had this like connection, but there were conversations early on that were like, you know, we can't date. If I was Mormon, we could entertain the idea, but we can't. We did try to be friends a lot. We kept being like, okay, look, I can't have you like out of my life. So we have to try to figure out how to be friends, but then we would hang out or see each other or whatever, and it was just like too much energy between us and it couldn't go anywhere.
She couldn't handle the energy. There was just so much just mojo in the air.
I would always be like, I can't do this. I can't talk to you anymore. If we can't be together, I cannot see you. Like, I can't talk to you, because I was so in love with him, and it just hurt. Dan had sent a song that he had written, and he had only written part of the song. And I was like, oh, well, I'll just write a verse and send it back. It was like written to me, you know? And so I would like write a response in the song. And it was like the stuff we couldn't say in real life.
'Cause I'm so in love with you.
But it was like still very much like, you have to be Mormon if we're gonna date.
Well, I'm tired, you're tired of acting crazy. Don't make big plans if you're being lazy. Don't make big plans if you won't follow through, you big baby.
And I speak nothing but the truth.
I was like, I'm not gonna forget about this person. He felt like he was my soulmate. And so I decided to start going and just learning more about the church. That's when I started to say, okay, well, if I can like really just follow my own heart inside of it, I don't see why I can't like progress in this direction. So I did kind of just do that, and I felt fine about it, except for the gay rights.
The Mormon Church supported Proposition 8, a proposal restricting the definition of marriage as being a union solely between a man and a woman.
Mormons became the most powerful force in California's fight against gay marriage because the church called upon its members to donate as much money and time as they could to the cause.
And so we ask you to give your best to this most significant effort, support in every way possible the sacred institution of marriage as we know it to be.
When Prop 8 was going down, in my heart I was like, I don't feel good about this, but whatever, it doesn't affect me. Which I think is a mentality of probably a lot of Christians and people. It doesn't affect me. Hey, it'll figure itself out in the eternities with God. It was right when I was meeting Asia, her 2 best friends who were lesbians, and they were, you know, all very active.
Very active. I mean,
Yeah.
I was with them. I was like marching alongside them.
Yeah, and so it was like, she was like, well, they told me that Mormons believe this and that they're really like funding these things with Prop 8. Is that true? And I'm like, well, it is true, but it's like, no part of me was just like, well, why are you Mormon then? I'm like, well, it's complicated.
When I started to look into it and take the lessons and convert, I really had to ignore that whole thing. I had to just ignore it because it was infuriating.
We got married in my parents' backyard, and her 2 best friends didn't come to our marriage because she was basically marrying into Mormonism in their eyes, which was, in the heat of Prop 8, was the reason they couldn't get married.
His wife's lesbian roommates not wanting to go to their wedding. I think he saw something and said, oh, there's something wrong here. There's something that can be better here. There's something I can fix. I can do something. And I don't think he knew what or how, but I know he wanted to.
So I still feel guilt, you know, with that I
I just was like a silent person, you know? Granted, my voice was pretty meaningless at the time. Not to say a voice is meaningless, but I didn't have any reach, you know? My band was a big puddle of nothing.
Growing up, Dan was in different bands, and he'd always been making music, but there is no guarantee you can make something marketable and earn a living at this. And I remember one time sitting down with my mom and dad, and they said, so Dan wants to do this rock thing, be in a rock band. So just tell us, what's his chance of success? Regardless of the fact that I knew he was driven and he had a good voice, and I thought he wrote amazing melodies, I said 0.
Waking up to ash and dust.
Imagine Dragons just like, boom! Suddenly it was like everybody just screaming at you, you know, great things and terrible things, and it was all just a new thing to me.
What's been like the biggest crowd response that you just felt overwhelmed?
I've been overwhelmed, honestly, every day.
I don't know that I can think of many more opposite worlds than that of a Mormon missionary and that of a rock star. It was completely shocking to me to be kind of thrust into the world. Like I had to relearn everything about everything I had known.
Love your music. I heard you have depression. I also have depression. But listening to your music really takes me away from it. Right now I feel worthless. Life is just really hard. I have no self-esteem. But your music makes it much easier. I'm thankful for your music. I'm also very thankful that you're a Mormon. And if I type in like Mormon, there's like, you know, hundreds of emails. I'm in middle school and I'm Mormon, but I'm very different. I'm not pretty, I'm not popular, but I don't care. I have anxiety and depression. I've had them since I was young. I was also told this was Dan Reynolds, and I thought it'd be cool to tell him about myself. Suddenly I started to really realize the weight of something that I think I already knew, which was that there's not a lot of famous Mormons. I want to tell you something personal to show you how important you are for me and how much you help me. I'm struggling a lot with self-acceptance and anxiety. This is because of many reasons. There is one big thing that annoys me the most: my sexuality. I hate myself for a lot of this. I don't even want to know where I would be without your music. I have no idea if you support same-sex marriage since you are a Mormon. If you don't, it's okay and I respect you. But if you do support it, thank you a lot, and it means the world to me. Tom, who sent me this email, says all these sweet things, and at the bottom, you know, hey, if you do, I respect you, but I know that he is hurt and is looking for someone from this band that he likes to tell him, no, Tom, I'm not judging you, and I never even wrote him back because I haven't read that email till right now because there's so many emails, but This is something that I've really had on my mind for years, and it's come to a head, I think, lately. Because I associate my family's Mormon and it's my culture. I know that there's so many people like this, Mormons who I know look up to me as a person, standing as a face for the Mormon Church. Yeah, I've been so conflicted because I don't know whether to, let down all these people who are Mormon and looking to me, or to be to stand back and then be, if I'm passive, if I just stand back and say, I don't want to talk about Mormonism or something in the press and stuff, then I have felt this burden, which I have done. Then I feel this burden, like I feel guilt. I feel like
I am standing then for bigotry.
I went on a mission at 19. I think it just felt like a safe choice to go and give me more space to figure out myself. So I got called to Nebraska, and I was kind of hoping I was gonna go to like Tokyo or something.
Tyler and I both served in Omaha, Nebraska. He had finished his 2 years right as I was coming out. Like, we barely linked like that. But it was enough that, like, the shadow of Tyler was still there. My first companion had a CD that said, like, Tyler Glenn on it, and he told me that it was this missionary and was writing songs in his spare time.
Yeah, on my mission, I had really a great experience. It really shaped this sort of headphone-wearing, like, kind of pseudo-goth kid into, like, someone that could talk to people. Yeah, and I got home, and then I decided to be gay for a little bit. And that started the conflict.
Hey, baby, won't you look my way? I can be your new addiction.
I got home from my mission, and Tyler had started a band called Neon Trees.
It started with a whisper.
His band blew up, and then my band blew up. I would see him at festivals, and I'd be like, hey, guy that's Mormon in that band, hey, I'm guy over here that's Mormon in this band. I followed him. I saw the things that he was saying, because he was like a Mormon in the press.
Being gay and closeted, I became a master compartmentalizer. I was able to sort of compartmentalize a version of Mormonism that fit. So come 29, we've put out 2 successful records and we've toured the world 6 times. I'm living my dream, you know? So like I should be happy, and I'm not content at all. And I'm thinking, I can't keep thinking this is a cool secret that I can live with the rest of my life. I was like, I have to come out. I came out to my producer. I was just like, Tim, do you want to know what these songs are about? And like, just saying it to him and having sort of the reaction from like a straight man, like I always feared would probably ridicule me because that was my experience. He like said, I'm so happy for you. And it was the first time that I ever attributed like positivity ever to being gay. I was expecting my life to turn to shit or to feel sinful or shame, and I didn't at all. And I was met with such, you know, just inclusion. It was, you know, 3 years after Prop 8, so I was met with a lot of LDS people saying, we need this conversation to broaden.
As a church, nobody should be more loving and compassionate. No family who has anybody who has the same gender issue should exclude them from the family circle.
Tyler did an interview with Rolling Stone that was like, I'm gonna be gay and Mormon, and I'm gonna make it work. And I feel like a lot of the Mormon community was like, woohoo, look at this, he's gay and he's Mormon, he's gonna make it work. What does that mean? Maybe he's celibate, I don't know, but hey, he's gonna make it work, he's happy, you know?
Started dating a guy openly, and I took him to Temple Square. For me, it was like, when you and I have a kid, we're raising a Mormon, and this means a lot to me. And about a month after that, it was November 5th, and the policy was leaked.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has come under intense scrutiny following their new official orders against homosexuality, baptism, and children.
The new policy change states that same-sex couples will also now be considered apostates, saying it will no longer bless or baptize children of same-sex couples until the child turns 18. Once a child turns 18, he or she will have to disavow same-sex marriage. Then they can be blessed and baptized by the church.
Sitting there in a church, it suddenly felt dark, and I'd never felt dark at church. I'd always felt like this is the safe place and I need to cling to this. I'm watching my brother baptize his son, and I don't ever get to do that because I'm gay and he's straight. And I just had taken, you know, the guy I was seeing to the temple, and I was doing all of these things to sort of remain, and it just hit me that I have to leave. And I remember telling my mom on the way to dinner after the baptism, I'm like, Mom, I believe, and I know the Book of Mormon is true, I know the church is true, but I have to leave because, like, they've clearly drawn a line, and it feels like the last, gut punch.
Faith, please have a little in me, hate. I know you hate it when I stray, but I tried everything. I drank the wine and stained the sheets. I'm clumsy when I speak.
I just realized I need to make an album about all these feelings.
Never call me anymore.
Tyler put out a record that was very controversial within the Mormon community.
God, where the hell are you hiding? My hands are in the air and I'm excited.
It was very visceral and very angry. He was ripping up the Book of Mormon. He was painting on the apostles' faces. A lot of Mormons saw that and were offended and angry at Tyler. And then I think a lot of Mormons saw it and were hurt for Tyler. It definitely weighed very heavily on my heart.
I've been on the run, so I'm not coming Sunday, it's alright. I'll probably talk to you at midnight. Cool.
Hey, dude.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, man.
Man, I don't even know where to start. Really, I feel like I should have made this call 2 years ago. I've watched you over the last, couple years, and I've watched you just go through this, and I've been a really shitty bystander, honestly. And so I guess first I just want to apologize because I feel I don't know who else you could relate to, how many other people you could relate to in this industry that are Mormon and have to feel conflicted about all these things. And I don't know, I just feel
that really means a lot. Thank you. Wow, that's really cool. Seriously.
But the question I want to ask you is, what now? What can I do what can I had this little idea in my head, and tell me if it's stupid. What if me and you got together and we put on a big event in Salt Lake City? Me, you, some people can come together and be inclusive of everybody and tell them all this needs to change. I know we can't force the church to change it, but maybe we can by raising more awareness and making more Mormons in their heart feel this isn't right. Maybe that's you know what I mean? Maybe that's what's going to start the change.
That's what it takes, man. Dude, I'm down, absolutely. Let's do it.
I'm so amped right now. I'm we're going to do this amazing thing. This is for Mormons. This is for non-Mormons. This is for the LGBT non-Mormons, LGBT Mormons. This is for the world to come to. So you know what I thought about? First thing that came to my mind? Food. What are we going to do for food?
If we can get food trucks, awesome. That's what I think.
I'm thinking food, and really what I should be thinking is, how do we not offend 50% of the people that come?
You're just trying to enlighten people. You're not trying to offend anyone.
See what you just said right there? Enlighten people. That
you think that's
says
offensive?
to people, you're in the dark, let me enlighten you.
No. Educate.
You're stupid, let me educate.
No, that's not true. I think people don't know statistics. They don't know the reality of what's happening.
You can't come in and say you're wrong.
No.
You have to come in and say, let's talk and believe in the goodness of people.
You have to change people's minds as a friend.
But it's not even that.
You
You don't have to change people's minds. They have to change their minds. We have to in my opinion, it's did you put bologna in this?
There's ham in there.
It's really weird tasting.
Is it?
We don't usually put ham in sandwiches, right? This is the first time.
No, but it's what was in there.
The Mormon, this is where I was raised, Mormonism. So this is my community, these are my people. That's the last thing I want to do, is to say, I'm right, you're wrong. Come and let me tell you why. It needs to be, everybody come to the table and let's see what's happening. These are the people who are in it,
Yeah.
Their message is 10 times more powerful than me getting up
Hey, I'm the singer of Imagine Dragons. You know that song? Radioactive, radioactive. Now let me tell you everything that I know about this subject, because I really don't know that much.
And everybody's gonna be like, I'm all heart. The education is yet to come. So.
Oh gosh. Well, hey, we are kind of all heart.
Hello.
John, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Dan?
Hey.
It's an honor to talk and to meet virtually.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Can you hear and see me okay?
Yeah, I hear and I see you good. You're a little choppy here and there, but not bad.
I'll close a bunch of windows and just make sure.
Yeah, are you playing World of Warcraft while you're talking to me?
No, I'm not.
My name is John DeLynn, and I'm a sixth-generation Mormon, raised as a devout, Orthodox, believing Mormon. Mormonism was everything to me because my parents had been divorced, and I felt like the church took care of me and nurtured me when my family was falling apart. In 2009, I started a PhD in clinical and counseling psychology. I was just noticing all these LGBT Mormons that were depressed and suicidal, and the church was encouraging mixed orientation marriages where you're gay, but you marry a straight person.
My name is Ricardo. I am a Mormon. I'm a father of 6 children, and I am attracted to men. The attractions aren't gonna go away. They're gonna be there my whole life. But I don't feel that I'm losing anything in my life. To me, that's being authentic. It's finding that core happiness within you. And for me, it's important that that core happiness is aligned with my beliefs and the gospel.
They were encouraging celibacy.
I feel now, being around people that know that I'm gay, I'm able to be myself. And I'm not having to make up excuses of why I'm not dating, or I'm not married, or I'm not falling in love. What's been so great about this experience is that I've been able to understand what really makes me happy, and that is pleasing God.
So we decided to study what decisions led to healthy outcomes for LGBT people and what decisions led to unhealthy outcomes.
I just wanted to understand a couple things. Can you change being gay or lesbian if you try? What happens if you just try and be celibate? What happens if you just try and marry a woman? Mixed orientation marriages were a disaster. Celibacy was the worst possible option that they could have chosen. Hundreds and hundreds of the people mentioned suicide in their narratives of wanting to kill themselves because of the struggle, feeling like God didn't love them, that God wouldn't heal them, and so they must have been beyond God's love and power.
The suicide rates in Utah are alarming. We've seen the suicide rates of youth between the ages of 15 and 19 double in the past 2 to 3 years and triple over the past 8 or 9 years since 2008. Nowhere else in the entire United States are we seeing youth suicide rates double and triple over that same time period. And so what's the cause? What happened in 2007, 2008? It was when the predominant religion within the state of Utah declares war on LGBT people.
Today I'd like to explain how I became an LGBT ally as a Mormon.
I gave a TED Talk in 2013.
I want to begin by making a point that you can literally save the lives of your LGBT brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, through love.
Well, I gave the TED Talk in like October or November 2013, and by January or February of 2014, my bishop had called me in and told me he was starting an investigation into my membership. And in February of 2015, I was excommunicated from the church. There's no doubt in my mind that my public support of LGBT people was a major factor in my excommunication.
Excommunication is about the worst thing that a Mormon could ever experience. It basically means, from a religious perspective, that you're cut off from your family for all of eternity. That your family's going to go to this really nice place in heaven, and you're going to be alone in a dark, sad place. And that's what excommunication means. It means you can't participate in church. It's basically condemning you to the Mormon equivalent of hell. And it was But more than that, it's cutting you off from your tribe. It's cutting you off from your people, from your friends, from your family. I have family members that won't speak to me, and it's devastating.
Oh man, my family is all Mormon, and they're very active. I have a real fear of losing all that.
Maybe you've heard the quote, the only thing required for evil to persist is for good men to do nothing. You've probably heard that, right?
I have, yeah.
I've always loved the church. I still do. I still consider myself Mormon. But I felt the same way you did. I didn't want to leave it. I didn't want to be excommunicated. I do think the number of overt bigots out there is a percentage is really small. But the number of Mormons, frankly, who just have decided to remain silent is extremely large. And so I've been watching you guys, and in my heart, I'm just like, things are going to change when these guys are willing to speak up.
This house was built 125 years ago by a polygamist named William D. Alexander.
Yeah, you have the view of the temple right out there. Wow, yeah.
Little did he know that someday his rainbow window would perfectly encase that Moroni.
The Captain Moroni on the top of the Mormon temple. So the kids can kind of just come in here after school's out, just come hang out, find a place of just refuge and kind of...
Yeah. The whole idea is they just walk in like it's their own home. I did have an area authority ask me, when these kids come here and you're going to make them more gay and their families aren't, and I was like, no. We are just here to love and support them and give them a safe place to be.
So maybe tell me about how you got involved here.
My mom is working here. Is that
I am volunteering here.
You're volunteering here? Right. When you came out, how was that received with your friends, the church?
It was only this Sunday that I came out to the church.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Savannah, and I want to share my testimony with you. I believe I'm a child of heavenly parents. I went up during testimony meeting, and I bore my testimony on how everyone is made the certain way that they are and how I was made to be gay. I believe I was made the way I am. I felt nervous actually because I didn't know what people would react. They did not mess up when they gave me freckles or when they made me to be gay. God loves me just this way because I believe that He loves all His creations. I hope to get married and have a family. I know these dreams and wishes are good and right. I know I can have all of these things as a lesbian and be happy. I didn't get to finish all the way through my testimony. I think it was like a paragraph later after I said the word lesbian. They cut me off. I want to love myself and not feel ashamed for being me. I ask you...
It was a member of the state presidency that was there.
You leaned over to the council.
Leaned over and had him turn off the mic and asked her to go sit.
It was a little depressing and sad when it happened, but I feel more happy now that it has happened because now I got to share my feelings.
You know, if my answer of what resonates here doesn't line up with what the prophet, etc. says, you know, it's like hard for my family to see that. All I can do is accept them and love them where they're at and like hope that they can offer the same thing back to me.
Something that happened recently with my brother who's on his mission. Like he was like one of the first people that I came out to. But at the time, I told him, and when I came out, he was like, no, it's just the devil, and he slapped me really hard.
So when you told him, he said it's the devil, and he slapped you?
Yeah.
Because you were, like, following the devil?
Yes.
Am I following this?
Wow.
all of you, in my opinion, even being here right now, are far braver than I could have ever understood, because I'm just like dealing with like, religion and these things, you know, but you guys are so brave. Thank you for letting me sit in and be part of what could be so uncomfortable, and I can be the most awkward person ever. And you guys have made me feel totally comfortable here too, and so thank you. I love you all, and love is love, and yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Sam.
And here are our crisis counselors here are ready to take phone calls. Our research here at the Trevor Project has found that if an LGBT young person has one supportive adult, the risk of suicide is lessened by 30%.
Wow.
It's incredible.
The Mormons are way over here and the LGBTQ community is way over here. So it's like, to me, I was like, well, what's a safe way we can bring everybody together, but also a place to be a little more educated? And for some Mormons, guarantee this will be the first time they'll sit down and listen to someone who is LGBTQ talk for more than like 5 minutes.
I have these Mormon moms come in from their temple shift, and they're very defensive until they fall in love with a gay person. They could fall in love with Tyler for just 5 minutes, then it's game over.
So dragons, trees...
Dragons, trees, interspersed with speakers. I mean, that alone is going to be like 20,000 people.
Have you thought about where?
I think Pioneer Park. Isn't it right next to the temple, someone was telling me or something?
It's like 3 blocks from it.
3 blocks from the temple?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, so they hold huge events here.
And do they have food trucks or anything like that?
Yeah, so there's like vendors.
What do you think the name of the festival should be? It needs to be something that the Mormons are like, oh, this sounds rad and I want to come to it, but it should sound progressive and cool and not boring. Love Loud.
Love Loud.
Or
Festival.
Love Louder.
Love Loud Festival.
Love Loud Festival. That's kind of cool.
It is.
Love Loud Festival.
Are you going to Love Loud? That's kind of cool.
No, I'm going to Love Louder.
No, I'm going to Love Loud. As I have loved you, love one another, this new commandment, love one another. By this shall man know ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another. It's actually pretty.
Yeah, it is. It's a Mormon. When you're a young Mormon, you're in a group called Primary, and it's like all the young kids like get together and they all have this rambunctious class where they learn about God, and you learn like these songs together.
Primary songs, yeah.
Primary songs.
Like children's hymns,
yeah,
basically.
And one of the first ones you learn is Love One Another, which is a really rad.
It's actually beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song, and the whole point of it is about just love one another. And so
it's interesting that gets lost in, you know, when it's really just such a simple idea that we're taught super young in the church.
A lot of Mormons are really good-hearted, loving, kind, charitable people who want what's right and they want to be kind and loving and tolerant, but they have leaders that are telling them what to think and how to behave.
If children have a happy family experience, they will not want to be homosexuals, which I am sure is an acquired addiction, just as drugs, alcohol, and pornography are.
Adultery, fornication, committing homosexual acts, and other deviations approaching these in gravity are not acceptable alternate lifestyles. They are serious sins.
We regard same-sex marriage as a particularly grievous or significant, serious kind of sin that requires church discipline. It means the discipline.
Mormon leaders claim to talk to God. So when the church makes statements in the 80s and 90s and 2000s that to be gay is evil, that to be in a same-sex marriage or committed relationship is evil, they're not just saying that as their own opinion. They're basically saying that God speaks to the leader of our church and takes that position. As the church has seen in the past, when the church takes a position and then the rest of the nation changes, So in the late 1800s, the church was a polygamous church, and the rest of the nation wasn't cool with that. The church was almost destroyed, and so the church had to change. Fast forward to the 1960s, the whole United States is starting to support African Americans and civil rights. And the LDS Church is opposing the civil rights movement. And that almost destroyed the church. And so in 1978, the church changes again.
He has heard our prayers, and by revelation has confirmed that the long-promised day has come when every faithful, worthy man in the church may receive the holy priesthood.
So just like the church eventually got rid of polygamy, the church eventually accepted blacks into full fellowship.
Accordingly, all worthy male members of the church may be ordained to the priesthood without regard for race or color.
The church changed and said, okay, now is the time, God has spoken, now you get to have the priesthood. The thing is, you're not going to change God's will, is basically what my mom said. My mom said to me when I told her I was doing this, she's like, well, just because you're a rock star dude, you can't change God's will.
While we are to value the rights and feelings of all of God's children, we cannot change his doctrine. It is not ours to change.
False prophets and false teachers are those who attempt to change the God-given and scripturally based doctrines that protect the sanctity of marriage.
Just because you go and pound on the brethren's door and you're like, Thomas S. Monson, come on, change this, man. Come on, change it. He's not going to change it for you, and because he's only doing what God tells him to do, and God's not going to change it for you. But if all the members of a church are talking about something, then the prophet's going to pray about it more, right? I think that maybe I'm one part of this puzzle that's like, you know, coming together, and hopefully the apostles and the prophet go pray about it, and God comes down and tells them what's up.
So, you know, there's a glimmer of hope, and in the long term, I think there's a lot of hope. The question is how long will it take to get there, and how many people will be hurt along the way?
So we have 3 kids, and Stockton is the youngest of the 3. And really our story kind of begins with him at age 12, us finding a letter with him saying that he thought he was gay.
At earlier times in his life, had either of you said, maybe he's gay, or do you think he's gay? Does he seem?
No, we, our gaydar was pretty weak.
Right.
How did you think that they would react?
I thought they'd react kind of badly, because, I mean, they were Mormon. Not all Mormons react kindly to that. I don't know, I didn't really think they were going to kick me out of the house. I didn't think they were going to be, oh yeah, you're gay, cool. Just kind of hide it.
Yeah.
You know, when we said, well, let's just kind of ride this out, that wasn't his MO. His MO was, yeah, I think I'm going to announce it at school tomorrow type thing. So,
yeah, he had his own bullhorn.
yeah, he was pretty proud and out.
I remember I gave him a neon pink t-shirt that said Queer New World. And he was so excited by this neon pink shirt because it was going to scandalize everyone in his school.
You know, he just thought, well, this is me, what's the problem? And unfortunately, not everybody was ready for that.
And I was kind of like internally realizing that I was gay. I got handed a pamphlet for the strength of youth, and it said homosexuality is a serious sin, and I got very angry about that, and it kind of just spiraled downward from there.
So, did you feel that even when he cut ties, he probably still felt the sting?
He was angry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was angry.
And he just didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
In a place that he should have felt the safest.
The rest of society around him, from church to school to government, kept sending a message to Stockton that he was less than.
You know, often kids would say to him, I can associate with you, but if my parents find out, then I can't. It was always, you know, this constant, I like you, but, or I love you, but.
Take this sink and boat and point it
could sense, you know, his frustrations and his anger and his fears.
He would say to me often, he'd say, "What's so wrong with me that I just can't have friends?" I really didn't see it coming. We were in St. George and just got a call that he was gone. And why didn't he call me? Because I would have done anything. That's what breaks my heart, is that he felt that much despair and that he, felt that alone.
He's like all of us. We're looking for the community,
right?
Your tribe. And so he was looking for his community and his tribe. And so, it was hard, because the community that should have been so loving and accepting of him and appreciative of who he is, just, I mean, I think a lot of these kids really did love him and accept him, but they were at war with their dynamic.
What they're being taught at church, what they're being taught at home.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. We need more voices. It's just, we need more voices. He deserves it.
My heart is full tonight. For so many reasons.
I think amidst all of this, a lot of people would wonder why even associate with Mormonism. If, you know, it's causing this much harm, why not just walk away and be done?
We've lost our loved ones. We've lost them to suicide.
I'm not gonna just walk away and let the house on fire burn. I'd rather do all that I can with this lucky spot that I've been put in to hopefully put out a fire.
It's time to begin, isn't it? I'm just the same as I was. Now don't you understand that I'm never changing who I am?
I have these tools of, like, you know, hey, if I want to put on a festival, we're going to put on a festival, and at least some people are going to come out because Imagine Dragons is playing. We can get this press, and we can get this interview because of Imagine Dragons.
Dan, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I don't know if you can hear my baby screaming in the background. We're doing this documentary. I'm also putting on a festival in Utah, August 26th, called Love Loud. There's going to be parents who are going to get up and speak who've lost their child to suicide.
Love Loud was this ginormous beast suddenly. I was like, okay, I'm going to hire an assistant. I don't think he had any idea what he was signing up for.
Music festivals usually take at least a year, and we're trying to pull this off in a few months.
We're going to hopefully create enough rumblings that it gets a ton of press coverage and that people start to understand that telling your child that it's sinful to be gay can be so destructive.
Are you worried about fans being maybe turned off by activism? You know, come on, Dan, just play your music.
I have to pay attention to my heart and speak the things that are in my heart. I felt that by not speaking out, I was doing a big disservice to my community.
My goal is to change this in the church, and not to say that I can change the church, but at least to bring together a ton of people who are Mormon who have said, you know, we've had enough with this.
I first met Dan in 2006 when I was a shy, closeted singer in a local band in Provo, Utah called Neon Trees. Dan, it's unbelievably exciting to see you use your platform to spread the love you have in your heart. That is the heroic move. We have a special message for you from one of our fans.
Hi Dan, my name is Miranda. I'm 16 and I am bisexual. But before anything else, I want to say congratulations! What you're doing makes a difference. What you're doing means so much to people like me, and I cannot thank you enough for it.
The Trevor Project is proud to honor my dear friend Dan Reynolds with the Trevor Hero Award. Please join me in a round of applause.
I loved a lot of my mission. I did a ton of service work. I lost myself. I became nothing. You're the geeky, stupid-looking dude with the name badge, and you get Slurpees thrown at you, and it's humbling. It's humbling, and it was good for me. But I'm sure you're wondering, where is he going with all this? And this is where I'm going with it. For those 2 years, when people asked me what the doctrine was, and they said, hey, I am gay, or I feel, like I feel like I like girls, and what do I do about this? I taught that it was a sin, because that's what I had been raised to teach. I never felt it in my heart since I was young. I hold regret about that to this day. I wish I could knock all those doors. I wish I could re-knock them and tell them that I was wrong. I can't do that. All I can do is come forward to you today and tell you I sincerely am sorry. I really, in my heart. Thank you for this. This is such a great honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know it's been said, but love is love. Love is love. Thank you so much.
We're less than 2 months out from the Love Loud Festival, which is super intimidating and scary for a million reasons, because it feels like we're still just getting stuff together.
And just say take one.
Take one. I'm here to make a very special announcement. On August 26th in the Provo area, we're going to be putting on a concert called Love Loud. It's going to be a festival.
So with Love Loud, we knew it was important to be in Utah. I don't want to say that people were intentionally trying to curb this event.
We can give them a sponsorship,
But when we started realizing it was a lot of people being afraid to touch this issue.
I thought we're going to have a massive park. We're going to show that the whole state of Utah actually believes in this. The reality hitting me is that not all of Utah wants this. I had tons of people who were like, you shouldn't talk about how we have any issues with suicide. Let's not talk about that. I'm a little nervous to even click on the comments section, to be honest with you. I know many LGBTQ XYZ people, and while I treat them like any other person I know, I don't agree with their choices to live that lifestyle.
People might laugh because they might say, why is this straight white guy the poster child for this now? I don't know. People love to hate, so we'll see what happens.
Get your Imagine Dragons music because Dan Reynolds embraced the pause, P-O-Z. So I had no idea what that was, so I Googled it. Gay slang, willing to have sex with someone who is HIV positive by someone who is not. You start to feel upset that it's so blatantly obvious. Look how obvious this is. Of course we have to love and accept everybody. Come on, guys.
It's a terrible challenge to go into this intersection of LGBT individuals and communities of faith, which requires sensitivity on both sides and a lot of nuance. And that is not an easy spot to be when you're someone like Dan.
I just did an interview with Billboard, and my family saw it, and that's been a little difficult, feeling like the family thinks that I'm doing something wrong, or I'm making them look like bigots or something. That's been probably the hardest thing for me.
The risk is that in going to this vulnerable intersection of not just I want to help LGBT individuals have more peace and love and acceptance in their lives, but I'm going to have an event in Provo, Utah, and I'm going to talk about Mormon doctrine. Will you express it in a way that sounds like kicking somebody when they're down or throwing a stone? Or will it come across as someone that's putting his arms around his fellow brothers and sisters and saying, hey, let's do better? It makes the family nervous. But I love Dan. I know he wants to do good. I know he's trying to be good, and I know he means well.
If I were you, I'd run away, closing your eyes and count to 10, bird in the sky, peace in your mind.
There's a week in particular where everything with Love Loud was basically falling apart.
Why is it so much more difficult than I thought it would be? Like you just say, hey, let's all meet in this park this day and do something. As of yesterday, our whole team that we have together was kind of feeling like we needed to cancel the event.
We looked at, I think, a lot of sites in the Provo area to do something of that magnitude. We really couldn't find any.
Utah was just making it too impossible to put it on.
If I was me, weight on my back, feeling the sun upon my eyes, where would I turn? What would I burn? I am a pawn within your hand. So many voices.
August 26th is 5 weeks from now, and I'm concerned that you can't pull this off in a manner that you'll be proud of and that you'll want to show to the world. And I just want to figure out what we're on a hook for and let you know, and hopefully you guys will consider us for next year.
What do I do? Where do I turn? Even my scream cease to be heard.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
You are bound to be alone. So many choices.
I was on a phone call with one of my fundraisers, just going over a bunch of details, and my phone kept ringing. I looked down and it was my mom. I was like, Mom. And then she called again, and then she called a third time. And at that point I realized I need to talk to my mom. And so I just said, hey, I need to end this call. I need to call my mom. And I called my mom, and she was hysterical. She told me my brother Landon had just hung himself. In Provo.
In place of you, our faith is strong. Woo the colors high in the blue and cheer our Cougars of BYU. Oh, rah, 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 rah.
So Landon was attending BYU, the LDS Church's university. He also had a really cool girlfriend, and he'd kind of blossomed down there. And then he and his girlfriend, they had sex, which is against the honor code. Landon was honest with the university and explained what had happened and told them.
And they said, you're kicked out for 5 years, and you can't associate with any of your professors. You're done. It's hard, and it put him into a downward spiral of depression and emotional wound after emotional wound. It was hard for him. Even though in the eyes of his God, he was clean. In the culture there, he wasn't. He was just a sinner. And that's how a lot of people looked at him, as less than. he just felt worthless. This was really hard because night after night, day after day, I'm spending all my time trying to bring this festival to life, to save lives and to help people not feel alone. It breaks my heart knowing that Landon got to a point where he believed that the only way his soul could go on was for it to leave his body. And the harsh reality is that, here in Utah, the leading cause of death for teenagers is suicide. I think we all can agree that we need to find a solution to this. And it's going to take every single one of us in this room to make a difference. I believe and I know that Mormons are good people, that we have sincere hearts, that we're no less broken than any other society. But the way that our culture is failing right now is in a very unique way and in a deadly way. The shaming that happens in this culture needs to end. I believe in a higher power, and I believe in goodness and love, and I know we can do this. This isn't some insurmountable task. It's feasible because I believe in us.
And I responded to him and I said, Lance, I'm so sorry that your brother just committed suicide. You don't have to do this anymore. You don't have to be on these calls. Please, go take off time with your family. You can, I'll do Love Loud. And he just refuses. He texts me and he says, I'm going to be with my family for a few days, but we'll still be working on everything and want you to know we will make it happen. No one deserves to feel the way my mother does right now. And I'm going to work my hardest to ensure that this suicide epidemic ends, man. This is so wrong and has to stop. I know you're stressing about this festival, but I assure you we're going to pull this off. There are too many things going right. Love Loud is going to happen and it's going to change the world. He just said, we're going to do this, Dan. We can do this. I have an idea. Let's do it grassroots. We don't need to get a bunch of money. We don't need to dumb it down or clean it up or make it more vanilla to get sponsors. You told me on the phone that if we didn't get the money, we'd go stand in a park on a soapbox and just scream to the world that things needed to change in Utah.
We want it to be a safe space for everybody to come out and be able to feel the love and acceptance together for our LGBTQ youth, and we want them to hear it with resounding cries from all across Utah.
We went from the event not happening to me begging people to take it on. We have the chance to do something that's really powerful and great, but doing it in Utah has been difficult. Finally, we got somebody who said, okay, we can do it if we do it in this ballpark. And we're gonna have to set it up the morning of, so we need a small stage you can roll in.
A mutual love of music is a great way to foster love, understanding, and acceptance. That's how our next guest wants to support the LGBTQ community.
It's basically come together in such a crazy last-minute way that every single person told me that I was stupid doing it. Yeah, I guess I've never thought about how big the church is versus the band, how influential the church is versus the band. I guess if I really stand back and look at it, it's like the band reaches millions, and we put out a video and it's like 500 million views. have a show in November in Salt Lake City that's sold out, and it's sold out super fast. It's 20,000 people plus. We figured, oh, well, we can do this Love Loud. It's just gonna sell out. And so when we put up the tickets, it's just nowhere near selling as fast as an Imagine Dragons show sells.
I mean, that tells you everything you need to know.
In order for Mormons to feel safe to come to this, the truth is, Mormons will feel safe about something when the prophet says to feel safe about something.
We know that there are conversations going on in the hierarchy of the church. I don't know fully what they look like. I hope that the church is able to make a statement and to let people know that these conversations are okay to have.
If the prophet said, hey, Love Loud is cool, then that's would be incredible, and that would shift, that would be like everything I could ever hope for. For me, that is a bridge that has never been, like, that is not a bridge that has been created. It would be the most amazing, huge step of progress if the church says, hey, there's this LGBTQ event, and yeah, even the guy who's behind it doesn't believe that it's a sin to be gay, and well, here's a stamp of approval. Like that, to me, I'm like, amazing, be amazing. So yeah, I've been waiting on pins and needles to see if they're gonna come through with a proposal, and I hope it's sooner rather than later.
Do you know what Daddy's doing?
What?
So Daddy's putting on a festival because he wants people to understand that, do you know what being gay is? Do you remember how we talked about how like boys can love boys and girls can love girls, or girls can love boys or boys can love girls? And sometimes what?
And sometimes girls want to be a boy, and sometimes boys want to be girls, and girls want to be boys.
And then what can happen? Remember, I told you sometimes people can be mean to that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we have to protect that person, huh?
Yeah.
So the festival is called Love Loud because it means love everybody, no matter what. I saw something on your phone, so you better read it.
Okay. It's 10:30 p.m. 10:30 p.m. We're just about to go to bed, and it's
Sunday,
August
yeah.
14th.
Yeah.
So we're like a week out.
Is that right? Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Here I'll start school tomorrow. I don't know what
10
day.
days.
What's the
It was
day?
like 10 days. 10 days. Anyway,
Okay.
we have the church's statement. Quote, we applaud the love... It's long, jeez. Quote, we applaud the Love Loud Festival for LGBTQ youths. First of all, I've never heard the church say LGBTQ. It's always, they say same-sex attraction. I've never ever heard them say that.
Awesome.
We applaud the Love Loud the festival for LGBTQ youth's aim to bring people together to address teen safety and to express respect and love for all of God's children. We join our voice with all who come together to foster a community of inclusion in which no one is mistreated because of who they are or what they believe. Who they are.
I know, that's big.
We share common beliefs, among them the pricelessness of our youth and the value of families. We earnestly hope this festival and other related efforts can build respectful communication, better understanding, and civility as we all learn from each other. That's really great, babe. That's a step. It's pretty awesome.
this is the reality of life. Dan and I both have nerves and we're like nervous, but I just think that there's some sort of a deeper feeling of just like, I feel like this is the kind of stuff that life is really the purpose of it all. So there's like a real gratification in actually pulling something like this off, even though it hasn't been pulled off yet. But I feel like it's just one of those, it just opens your heart, you know? It feels amazing. Oh my gosh, seriously? Let's not put that in there.
Okay, babe, we gotta go, sweetie. We're so late.
Honey, we are fine. We have 20 minutes and I'm pumping.
The sooner we get there, the better chance we get of getting everybody in a room to have like a powwow with all the speakers and stuff.
Honey, what do you want me to do about this pumping?
Nothing, you're fine. I'm just being anxious, sorry. I can help you pack while you're pumping.
Well, I like to pack. I'm a control freak, remember?
Well, it's just literally a matter of me zipping up your zipper over here.
Well, okay, just start putting things away.
Yeah, I will be honest, I don't know where you want these two things.
Okay, can you just let me do it? Oh my gosh. It's gonna be amazing. Okay?
You just have to go on stage and just
talk about
tell all these people who are completely opposites of each other to get along. Alright, bud.
Okay.
No.
We're gonna do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. All right, it's a good time to look and see if there's protesters.
You're making me so nervous today, hon. I don't know why.
What?
I don't know why.
Why?
I don't know why.
I'm not supposed to be here to make you
I know, I think I'm just making myself nervous, and I just want to blame it on you because you're my wife. The people online, I'm just so curious to hear what people
are talking about.
Yeah, and what the line looks like, and like who's coming to this.
It seems like there's a lot more people than would just be LGBTQ, and I'm really happy to see that. I think what Dan Reynolds has done here is really important for helping people to see and normalize the concept of us being in the same world as them.
I wish I could have been here, 10 years ago. I think it would have saved a lot of heartache for a lot of people. I think it could have saved some lives.
Seeing how many people are out here supporting the cause, it's like a hope for humanity kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, this is incredible. This is the night that I've been looking forward to for so long. This is the most important stage I've ever been on. Some people walked in tonight feeling a little out of their comfort zones, feeling like, are people going to judge me? But guess what? You came still. I applaud you for that. This speaks to the courage, to the love of the people of Utah that I have known for years. And to see this for our LGBTQ youth, I know speaks volumes to them. So please give a round of applause first and foremost to yourself. I gotta say that means so much to me and to the people who have put this together. We've worked tirelessly and hard to be able to make this a place for everybody. I hope that you know that. There's no judgment cast on anybody. There is a place for everybody here at this table. We can all agree on one thing, and that's in love. Absolute, pure, complete love. I want to introduce you to the person who has me here today. my everything. I am nothing without this individual. She has shaped my life, opened my mind and my heart, and she's also the greatest artist in the whole world. I'm not biased, that's just the way it is. It's my wife, Asia Volkman. Come on out.
I can't talk because I'm just gonna play. Breathe in deep. This life ain't gonna be easy. Nobody said it'd be so very hard. Don't lose faith. You guys.
I was a 7-year-old, 8-year-old Mormon boy. I was so afraid that I might be gay because if I was, it would mean that I would lose my parents, my family, the faith community that I loved so much. And if that 7-year-old boy could have flashed forward and seen tonight with 20,000 Mormons here celebrating us, I would have had more hope for the future. And I hope that the 7- and 8-year-old queer kids out there will feel hope for their future as well.
I need some more time, a couple last tears, a few more days before I disappear. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Give a love loud fest welcome to Savannah and her mother, Heather.
I was invited here to share my truth. Thanks to you for giving me the space to speak today. I believe I was made the way I am, all parts of me, by my heavenly parents. They did not mess up when they gave me brown eyes or when I was born bald. They did not mess up when they gave me freckles or when I was made to be gay. I want to love myself and not feel shame. And I know my heavenly parents love and accept me. Thank you.
It's quite a privilege to be able to share your voice. 15 years ago, I was a student at BYU, and I was coming out, and I was suicidal. And I'm here, and I just got this hug from this little girl who stood up. She's 13, and she just told everybody that God loves her because He made her. I mean, it took me until I was almost 30 to have that in my brain say, I don't have to be better or try to be better. God made me exactly who I am. I'm the best I can be. I'm exactly what He said. I made you. So it's just been the most amazing thing. I feel like I'm in a dream right now.
It feels like Mormon Woodstock. That's how it feels. It feels like a historic moment, really. It feels like we've fought so hard for so long, and finally we're able to do something significant. We've reached critical mass.
A scripture I cherish says of God that He inviteth all to come unto Him and partake of His goodness, and all are alike unto Him. May this be a new beginning for all of us, that this community may hereafter be known as a place of love for all.
church did endorse this, right?
Yeah, that was great. But now,
for me, I want them to put their money where their mouth is. If they're going to say, we love all of our LGBT people, then let's get rid of that policy and let's bring them into full fellowship. I mean, for me personally, nothing less will do.
Yeah.
Because you can say I love you all you want, but until you act on that in a way that feels inclusive and complete, then it's a no-go.
I totally get where people are coming from, where they say like it's a big step, it's historic that they're approving of anything LGBT related, but I don't know. I'm a little salty because there's still a policy intact, and it doesn't take away from everyone the pain that I went through. Like, that policy caused me to completely go through a faith crisis. I've, had suicidality this last year. Like, I don't know where I fit in all the time, and that's because of them. It's a tiny step with the church. It's a huge step for this area.
I'm the mother of a 17-year-old gay son that we lost to suicide a year ago. We work hard to spread the message of unconditional love for all of God's children, so heartbreaking stories like mine won't happen again.
I'm absolutely just blown away. This is a great message to parents to say, you know what? It is okay to love your gay kids. I think the thing that's kind of hitting me the most is I know Stockton's really proud.
Yeah, he would be
He's
dancing.
up there just glowing, probably dancing with no clothes on.
That's the truth. I was going to say it, but he did.
He's loving this.
You have to know how much it means to me personally, in my heart, to be playing this event with my band Neon Trees on this stage in front of this crowd. Being an openly gay man performing with my band up here should speak volumes. I am happy, I'm proud, I'm open. I have friends and family that love me, and you will too. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It started with a whisper, and that was when I kissed her. Her at the time. Then I found out it started with the whisper. Everybody talks, Seol. Yeah, the masters of my Seol. But they never did ever let them in the throwing and hit it with wind until it broke up and it rained down. It rained down. Lord!
Love Loud was everything we could have hoped for and more. It showed it's not just me as a Mormon who is antsy for change. The whole Mormon community came out in droves to say, this is a place within the church that is broken. How can we fix it? Leading up to Love Loud, the church obviously reached out to me, and we have been having kind of an open dialogue. Coming out of Love Loud, everybody was feeling positive momentum. I had been extremely excited for General Conference. And General Conference happens twice a year. It's where the apostles and the prophets speak like on live television to the world and to all the Mormons. And I think a lot of Mormons, myself, were waiting to hear an apostle say, now let's start to do something to change this.
Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are blessed with unique doctrine and different ways of viewing the world. We've witnessed a rapid and increasing public acceptance of cohabitation without marriage and same-sex marriage.
Elder Oaks talked about the Family Proclamation, which is basically an old piece that was put together from the church that was released about marriage between a man and a woman, and these are the things that make up a good, healthy family.
The Family Proclamation begins by declaring that marriage between a man and a woman is ordained of God, and that the family is central to the Creator's plan for the eternal destiny of His children. It also affirms that gender is an essential characteristic of individual, premortal, mortal, and eternal identity and purpose.
The church basically just doubled down on everything they've been pounding into my head and Mormons' heads for years, which is to be gay and act upon it is a sin. Marriage is between man and a woman. Popular culture, popular people will try to tell you otherwise.
Every generation has its tests and its chance to stand and prove itself. I believe our attitude toward and use of the family proclamation is one of those tests for this generation. I pray for all Latter-day Saints to stand firm in that test.
In light of Love Loud, that for me was a dark day, to say the least. It's a dark week, a dark month. With that being said, if there's one thing my Mormon values have taught me since I was young.
First things first, I'ma say all the words inside my head. I'm fired up and tired of the way that things have been, oh.
It's that no matter what the world says about who you are, what you believe, still do it 100%. That spirit was the spirit that carried me through my mission. I felt like I was bearing my truth regardless of what anybody thought about me. That's all because of Mormonism and my parents. And so they have all prepped me for this moment now.
Pain, you made me a believer, believer. Pain, you break me down, you build me a believer, believer.
A determined Mormon is a scary thing. I will tell you that, because they don't stop. I knocked 100 doors to get into one door. I knocked thousands of doors on my mission. If there's one thing I can guarantee, it's that I will continue to knock this door until somebody answers.
My life, my love, my drive, it came from pain. You made me a believer, believer. Wake up every morning with a new resolve. 2 hands and 1 heart, let the world revolve.
Because of Love Loud, my dad felt like he had the permission to love and accept me for who I am. And Love Loud gave us a bonding, and that I'm really grateful for.
It gave me the guts to talk about my son's sexuality in ways that I'd never been able to before. I've had 4 people come out to me since Love Loud. They said that Love Loud gave them the courage to live their truth.
Love Loud gave me the opportunity to tell my story and declare that I am worth it in front of thousands of people.
Love Loud gave my family the chance to stand shoulder to shoulder with our transgender son, and not only him, but with neighbors and extended family who never would have ever showed up for an LGBT event.
Love Loud gave me hope and inspiration that things can change, that I myself can be a force for good in my own community.
Looking at this crowd of thousands of people, I realized these are people I don't have to be scared of. There's a lot of support in my community that I didn't realize was there. And it was honestly one of the best days of my life.
When I was 13, 14, I felt completely isolated and silenced, and it hasn't even been that long, and I just feel so hopeful about the future and that things will just keep getting better. And I hope it does.
I keep skipping stones, hoping for a change, but things just stay the same. I keep walking roads, looking for a home that I can call my own. Skipping stones, I'm skipping stones, I'm I'm skipping stones, I'm skipping stones, I'm skipping stones.
Love is not a product of reasonings and statistics. It just comes. None knows whence and cannot explain itself. Love is a madness. If thwarted, it develops fast. When you fish for love, bait with your heart, not your brain.
I keep skipping stones, hoping for a change, but things just stay the same. I keep walking roads, looking for a home that I can call my own. Skipping stones, I'm skipping stones, I'm skipping stones, I'm skipping stones, skipping stones, I'm skipping stones, I'm skipping stones,